My name is Abby, the host of Move, Sweat, Discover, and I'm here with Katya and Ryan from Ballroom Bees. Thank you for our session. What does movement mean to you?
Movement means to me feeling like a superhero. I always say that whenever I'm tired or I'm feeling down, I have this feeling when I put on my Ballroom Bees t-shirt and I turn into a superhero. My posture changes, my demeanor changes, and that plus movement, I feel lighter. The day is easier to take and accept. So movement is medicine.
Movement means happiness and health, and I normally can't sit still anyway, so I'm kind of in relief if I'm busy moving around, and I love sharing the joy and the endorphins that the dancing and the moving provides us.
Welcome to Move, Sweat, Discover, the podcast where fitness meets self-discovery. My name is Abby, and today we have Katya Virshilas. Katya is a professional and award-winning ballroom dancer, a four-time Vancouver, British Columbia dance sport champion from 1998 to 2002, and also a winner of the Canadian Latin Dance Championship in 2001. She has appeared in the films Shall We Dance, starring Jennifer Lopez and Richard Gere, Take the Lead with Antonio Banderas, John Tucker Must Die, and appeared in TV shows such as Smallville, Supernatural, and Psych. She has appeared as a professional dancer on BBC's Strictly Come Dancing from 2009 to 2011, partnering with cricketer Phil Tufnell, rugby player Gavin Henson, and tennis player and TV personality Dan Lobb. She also has appeared in choreographed numbers on another BBC televised reality dancing competition, So You Think You Can Dance, for 2 seasons. Now, Katya, alongside her husband Klaus, who is also a ballroom dancing world champion, is the founder of Ballroom Bees, whose mission is to empower young dancers to express themselves, build confidence, and connect with others, creating a vibrant community where every child can thrive. And without further ado, welcome, Katya.
Thank you so much.
That was a long list of stuff.
I just had flashbacks. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
This is your life moment. So Katya, we connected because you reached out to explore sharing your story and your journey on Move, Sweat, Discover. So I'm super appreciative that we have connected. So I'd like to thank you for your time, obviously, today. I really appreciate it because so far we've talked with other athletes, business owners, kind of people in the fitness industry. But you are our first dance representing the dance community. So okay. I think this is really special. I want to start by asking about little Katya, kind of where you got your start, like how active you were as a youngster growing up. So tell us about yourself.
Little Katya. I think we moved around a lot. So I was born in Lithuania in Klaipėda, and in the 90s, we immigrated to Israel, and it was just around when the war started. And I was the youngest one, and I always wanted people to see me. So I've always made these little performances. I loved making people smile and happy.
Oh, that's
super cheesy. And I would put on little shows, and we were in these little war rooms when the missiles would fly over, and we would be closed in these special rooms. So I would just entertain others, and I'd love to make them laugh. But my aunt was a prima ballerina in St. Petersburg.
Wow.
And she was this phenomenal dancer. My mom was an acting coach, and I remember my aunt saying, "You'll never be a dancer because you have a terrible arch, and you're not naturally flexible." So I love to entertain, but I thought I wasn't built to be a dancer. So my first dance experience was dance classes in Israel. I think I took a few in Lithuania. My mom said I did ballroom dancing as a kid. In Eastern Europe, everybody does ballroom.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's like you just have to do ballroom dancing. But then I did folk dancing and a little bit of modern and jazz. And it wasn't until we immigrated to Vancouver and I was 13 that I went to my first dance class. And it was an awful experience because starting anything when you're a teenager is terrible. You're just awkward and lanky and weird. And I was also just learned how to speak English. So ballroom dancing at 13.
Yeah. So what was it about dance that kind of captivated you? I mean, I've talked a little bit on the podcast with other guests that movement my fitness. Every time I'm doing like a burpee or running or even yoga, whatever it is, I feel free. So I kind of imagine, based on watching Billy Elliot, I kind of imagine that that's the feeling that you kind of have when you're dancing. Is it the same for you, or?
It's as you were saying this, I got goosebumps because you asked me about little Katya, and I go into details, and sometimes you forget that feeling, and it was the feeling that music till this day, I think when anyone listens to music, there's something happens.
Yeah.
It takes you to a certain place in a memory. And to me, as a little girl, dancing and performing was about making people happy and forget about whatever was going on at that time. And it was this beautiful way of getting to express yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe it was something that I couldn't speak or couldn't say eloquently enough, but I was able to present it.
So with your dance regime, when you were doing the classes, did you have like fitness on the side? Like, were you doing like kind of gym or weights or whatever to kind of keep yourself strong, like running to keep your endurance up? Yoga to kind of keep yourself like bendy and limber, or?
Bendy and limber. I think in the beginning when I started dancing, it was very much just about dancing. I think at those years and in that point, doing lifting weights was like, oh my God, and because we'll be bulky, it's so crazy thinking about it now. It's kind of like, oh, I don't want to be a ballerina if I do one class a week.
Yeah.
But it was that fear of becoming bulky, and it was very much about, it was the skinny Kate Moss. You have to be skinny and thin to be a dancer. And it was, I remember even going to a ballet class, because I developed and I had boobs and hips, and I wasn't right for ballet, and I was too kind of, I was becoming like a girly girl. But for the training at that time, we just danced. You danced and danced and danced. You had private lessons, group classes, training on your own. It wasn't until I moved to Toronto to go to school to get my BA in art and dance. That's when I started doing other extracurricular classes for, stretching, ballet, and contemporary, for other things. But no yoga or weight training at that time.
Yeah. And so in the kind of ballet scene,
So I also probably couldn't afford the other classes because, at that time we were just all very, poor, and every single like dollar you make, you would spend on your dancing.
Yeah. With the ballet kind of scene, I know a little bit about it from my sister, who was kind of like dancing away in her like ballet shoes, like from, age 0 pretty much. There seemed to be like quite a competitive nature and a lot of, can I say judgmental? Like, if you're not in this kind of cookie cutter box of what a ballerina should be like, then you're out. And
it's to do what I'm doing now, and I always say Ballroom Bees inspires people to dance and to move. And I think dance entertainment industry in general is a very particular industry, and I think in every industry is hard, but at that time, I had a girl once fling her arms across the floor. My nose was bleeding. I had a girl once loosen the thread in my dress.
oh wow.
And as I danced, my strap fell down, and of course it fully disoriented me and to throw me off my game.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stuff happening that this was my university, my street smart. I grew up.
So when you were in Canada?
When I was in Canada, but I mean, traveling, obviously, when I was in Canada, we were already traveling.
Yeah.
I grew up quite young. I mean, I graduated at 17. I married my dance partner when I was 18 in Toronto.
Okay.
After knowing him for 3 months. It was all in my TED Talk. I can talk about it.
You can talk about it, yeah. And so then how did you kind of deal with all that kind of competition and that rivalry? And
I think this,
I mean, it sounds menacing.
it was, I sometimes look back, and by the time I was 20 years old, I went through so much craziness between training, marriage, abuse, divorce, body insecurity before I was 20.
Yeah.
But at that time, all I wanted to do was dance. It was my life. I didn't think that I had any other opportunities. You know, I wasn't I wasn't book smart. It was not something that was pushed on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that like all the kind of things that you went through, the divorce and the abuse and all the competitiveness in the dance world, was that a driver for you to kind of move forwards with?
I think it was a drive for me because nobody thought I was going to succeed. You know, my parents' friends would always be like, "So what are you going to do with, what's your real job going to be?
Right.
You know, you're not going to be a dancer, or
Yeah.
you're pretty, you'll just marry rich." It was just one of these things that you would hear all the time, and you want to succeed. I've always wanted, there was this fire in me, and this, I call it the red light. I would if anybody would say no to me or not possible. I mean, my first dance teacher literally said to my mom, "You'd be wasting your time and money. She's too old. She's not talented enough."
Okay.
And hearing that, it was I was like, that Kill Bill soundtrack, that, it was that. And even now, when somebody says it's the worst thing that you can say to me is no.
Yeah.
Because I will make it happen.
That's great. That is great. It's a great motivator.
Always a not yet. Not yet. Never a no. There's always a way to make it happen.
Yeah. So what are your takeaways then from that time?
Grit. I had grit, and it was because my parents didn't have money. I mean, we had food and a roof over our head, but I could never get into trouble with oh, my mom will bail me out, or I'll have enough money to go here, and it was, if I wanted to do something, I had to get it for myself. If I needed extra money, I had to go and did waitressing, and I did modeling, and I hustled all the time.
Yeah.
Because there was no, I don't know, I didn't even think about there was another way.
Yeah.
I just had to move. I had to make money to put the money into my dancing, because that was my future.
Yeah. So talk to me about the ballroom competitions.
Oh, man, it's beautiful art form. And I'm married to one of the most incredible, influential teachers of this ballroom generation time. Klaus trains some of the best dancers in the world.
Yeah.
To succeed in something so niche, it takes an extreme amount of dedication.
Yeah.
And the competition, I mean, I grew up my whole life, it's auditioning. Imagine just auditioning every day, saying you're too thin, you're too fat, you're too small, you're too big. It's constant rejection, and you have to take that rejection and go, okay, let's go again.
Yeah. How did you make the switch from ballet then to the ballroom dancing?
I took ballet as side classes. I could never be a ballerina because I was not, I was too normal.
Right.
To be a ballerina. I wasn't skinny enough and long enough, and I got my menstrual cycle, which meant I was in normal weight.
Yeah.
So to be a ballerina, that's a whole other dedication.
Yeah. So paint that picture for me, because like the ballroom competition, that whole scene, I just have Strictly Ballroom, that Baz Luhrmann film. Yeah.
So much.
It's great.
I love that movie. I studied it in school. I love it.
It's just like hyper competitive, like cutthroat. Was that what it was like, or what was your
And
experience?
still, ballroom politics are crazy. I've always said somebody should make a movie about it. But it is. It's very cutthroat, and it's very political. But at the end of the day, the biggest issue with ballroom dancing is that the teachers that teach the couples who then the couples pay, those teachers judge.
Right.
So this was one of the things that it's a bit, you know, not everybody can put aside
Mm.
and then judge with a clear mind.
Yeah.
So it's what makes it competitive and political, because it's now the person with the most money
Yeah.
and the most ability to be everywhere, do everything.
Mm. And then at that stage, so when you were in the
That stage we didn't have any money. So it was, you were just wanting to be the best.
Mm.
And Vancouver in Canada, very small country and pool of dancers in
Yeah.
LA.
But then did you still have that kind of feeling in your gut where you're feeling free and, that same feeling that you had that captivated you initially?
Listen, I retired my first dance partner, who I married because he got a deportation letter to go to Moscow.
Okay.
And I married him so he can stay in Canada.
Mm.
I was going to go to Moscow, but my mom was like, cover my dead body. Like, I spent my whole life getting you out of the fucking USSR. You're not going to Russia. So we married, and he was the most amazing dancer and incredible. And but through that training process and the difficulty of the pressure, it did get to me eventually, where I was just done.
Mm.
And the enjoyment just was all sucked out of me.
Okay.
And I retired when I was very young. I was 20 years old when I retired
Okay.
from competitive ballroom dancing.
And so then what was the next for you then?
Oh my gosh. I feel like we'll need another hour. So my partner at the time was abusive, and my mom basically, she came to St. Petersburg to save me. But during that time and just before that, I had gotten a part on the movie Shall We Dance?
Yeah.
So I was training in Richmond, Vancouver, and that's where they were training Jennifer Lopez.
Mm.
And the choreographer that was working with her, I was called Katy at the time. They were like, Katy, there's this amazing role. You should audition for this movie. And they handed me this script. And I remember going to the dressing room and coming out, and I just did a reading.
Mm.
And then a few months later, they told me I got the role.
Yeah.
And they were going to film the movie in, where was it? I think it was Toronto, but there was SARS or something. And then we moved it to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I remember we moved it to Winnipeg, and it was crazy because Winnipeg is this tiny little city in Canada. And you had like Susan Sarandon, Stanley Tucci, Richard Gere.
Yeah.
We took over it. So that movie, actually being on the set of that movie, really opened up my eyes to a world where people were giving me respect and listening to me, because I've always felt that I was not talented enough, that I was stupid, that I was too slow. So being on the set, it gave me more confidence.
Mm. But you could just Jennifer Lopez, Richard Gere, these where you just pinch me is like a dream.
It was crazy because I was the youngest dancer. We had Karina Smirnoff and Charlotta Jorgensen. These are very famous dancers.
Yeah.
So I got the morning shift with Richard, because Karina got the afternoon and Charlotta got the evening. And
It's insane.
And so I got the 9 a.m. session, because I'm the young new girl. And so my job was to train the stars and to work with them to get them, looking good on the set. So
Yeah.
I would spend my mornings with Richard, training him how to dance, to partner him.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. Then worked with Stanley. And this movie experience just blew my mind.
Yeah.
So after I finished, I did get my husband a role on the film.
Okay.
So then we could train for the worlds while he was on the movie. So he was an extra in the film.
Mm. This is your ex.
My ex-husband.
Okay.
My ex-husband,
Yeah.
yes. So when I wrapped the movie, I became really good friends with Lisa and Walter. She's a comedian in LA. And she said, if you ever want to come to LA to continue the acting, you can always come and stay with me.
Mm.
And so a few months later, I danced the Worlds in St. Petersburg. My mom comes. I run away. I run back to Canada.
Okay.
It's a very dramatic. And I go to LA.
Okay. And then you were like, this sounds like a Hollywood dream. This is my new chapter, my new beginning. The rest is still unwritten.
But I was 20 years old, and I went for the past 8 years. I was like a soldier. This is when you get up. This is what you do. This is how you train. And all of a sudden, I have money. I'm in LA. I mean, I went to like visit the Playboy Mansion. I went to parties. I went to this. And it was just wild because I was all of a sudden this like free unicorn with no one to tell me what to do. So it was a little bit too much fun.
Okay.
And I was so, and I was auditioning, but I didn't know what I was doing really. So it was just a lot of experimenting, I guess.
Did you have any like goals or aspirations to be like the next J-Lo or something like that?
It was pilot season. I was there during pilot season. So back in the day when pilot season was pilot season, you would audition a lot, but I didn't have a car. I didn't drive. I couldn't, taking taxis at the time to auditions. It was quite tough.
Yeah.
So then I ended up getting my own apartment. But after 6 months, it just ate me alive. So I went back to Vancouver and I was like, I need to go to Vancouver and start this in Vancouver. Also, I had a Canadian passport, very difficult to work in the US.
Okay.
Yes. And I signed with an amazing talent agency in Vancouver called Characters. And I started working in Canada, in Vancouver as an actress.
So because you did a lot of projects. I mean, the list of things that I just listed off at the beginning of the episode, there was a lot. All of that was when you were in Canada.
Yes. So just when I left LA, and the casting director actually from Shall We Dance got in touch with Timon Stewart, who's the president of Character Talent Agency, and he signed me. I remember going into his room and I was so nervous, and we had a really good conversation. And then he said to me, "Listen, I'll sign you. I'm going to give you a chance, but don't ever come in with nails looking like this."
What were your nails like?
No, they had like really chipped nail polish, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Till this day, very particular about nails.
So spill some tea on your time in Hollywood.
Oh my gosh, not with my Ballroom Beast t-shirt. But I had some interesting dates with some interesting people.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
What was your, like, I don't know, I don't want to swear, your F me, this is insane moment? I mean, Playboy Mansion sounds like that could be one of them.
Mansion was crazy. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Really fun. I went to a screening of Kill Bill there.
Oh, wow.
Met Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
I went on a few dates with Michael Keaton.
Oh, wow.
Batman. Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Batman. So that was really fun. And I mean, parties at Nicolas Cage's house. It was a person that meets you. It was just, it was so much more friendlier and different then. And it was I don't know.
Did you go to the Oscars?
I did not go to the Oscars. I did not. Oscars is on my to-do list.
Okay. I think
the Cannes Film Festival and the Oscars is on my to-do list.
Okay, you're almost there.
That's animation.
Yeah, you're almost there. Okay, so you've done the movies, you've done a few TV shows. Talk to me about then getting to Strictly Come Dancing.
So in Vancouver, as I was navigating being an actress, and I remember thinking in the beginning that it was easy in comparison to dancing. When I really didn't think about the art of film, I thought, I get my hair and makeup done, I read the script, I get paid. It was in comparison to dance training where you're just working hundreds of hours a week for maybe getting into the next round, and you're constantly broke. There, it was a different lifestyle, but I didn't feel very fulfilled.
Okay.
it wasn't very fulfilling.
Did you want more out of that whole experience? Like, was there aspirations to go to the Oscars?
I thought that I wanted to be an actress, but I remember thinking, am I a good actress? I don't know. I think the roles at the time that I was playing were very, I was very typecast. And I remember thinking, I was like, maybe in my 30s and 40s, I'll be a serious actress. But I was very typecast. And I remember thinking, my gosh, I'd love a film like Selena. And a project came along. A friend of mine who was a choreographer that I knew from LA, he said to me, oh my gosh, there's this film called Take the Lead. And Morgan, you'd be perfect for this role. And I was on a project somewhere else. And I remember sending an audition tape for it. And I didn't hear anything back. And then a few months later, my friend calls me and he's like, Katya, they hired somebody for the film. Why didn't you audition? And I said, I did. And so apparently, they hired this girl, but this girl was a great actress, but she could not dance. And you needed a strong dancer because they needed to lead Antonio in this tango scene.
I watched it this morning.
Yes. So Alan's like, listen, they're willing to let her go and hire you again and need you to get into the studio again. So I auditioned again, and basically they hired me, but they said they'll only hire me as a local actress from Toronto. So I had to get there myself. So they weren't going to pay for my flight.
Okay.
But I was like,
Antonio Banderas.
I mean, I'll do the film. But that movie really opened up so many incredible doors for me. And I remember being on the set, so sick, and having to shoot this incredibly difficult scene with this huge Hollywood star who is, not very tall and not very, and you could see the choreography. The choreography is very much about me, of him kind of towering over me and me bending. It was very tricky to shoot, but it's beautifully done. And I remember just being so sick that day that I just wanted it to be over. And now looking back at it, it was a beautiful piece of cinematic dance history. And even till this day, how many years have passed, it is still, I don't know, it still matters. Kind of like when I watch Gene Kelly and Dancing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Or just, some great like Chicago. It's just always going to be relevant. But that movie is the movie that changed my life. I got a call from Strictly.
Okay.
BBC watched the film, found out I was a Canadian champion, and I got a call from the BBC to come and do an audition while I was working in India.
Okay. Was it a quick no-brainer, yes, I'm going to do this? Or were you kind of like apprehensive because you're leaving behind Antonio and...
Oh, no. I mean, are you kidding me? Strictly was a dream. I mean, Dancing with the Stars, Strictly Come Dancing is the OG show.
Yeah.
It's...
Because Dancing with the Stars is the international franchises, is that right?
So Strictly is the main franchisee license holder.
Yeah.
And BBC had franchise. It's the most franchised TV show. It's in the Guinness Book of Records. I think it's extraordinary. That email, I was shaking. I remember so I had to fly to London to do it's a proper audition. They like test you that you're not crazy.
Okay.
And they ask you, I remember I had to like teach an accountant from BBC, like just, for me to see how I interact.
Okay.
And it was quite the process. And I remember when I came back to Vancouver, I was like...
Did they pay for your flight?
No, not for the audition.
Okay.
Not for the audition. Can't remember where, because I think I flew in from India anyways. But I can't remember that part. But no, I mean, listen, Strictly really takes care of their dancers. And it's an amazing job.
Yeah.
An incredible job, an opportunity. You're watched by 9 million people every week. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think the most experience that I got in life was on that job.
Who were the judges at the time?
It was Len Goodman. It was Bruno and Craig Revel Horwath. He was at my wedding. And it was oh my God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Arlene Phillips.
Okay.
Sorry, Arlene. Yes.
So, I mean, Strictly was huge, is still pretty huge. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Strictly is huge.
What was that whole kind of period like? It seems like it was like a goldfish bowl.
I didn't know the extremity of what it means being on the show. In England, there are two religions, and it's football and Strictly.
Okay.
And people die and kill for, it's a religion.
Mm.
I had no idea about Strictly before. I had also no idea about cricketers and rugby.
Yeah.
And all of it. So I was this, fresh off the kind of boat, everything was so new to me. And to be coming onto this extremely competitive place where you have 9 professionals, 5 girls, 5 boys. And I was so young. And so I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was just smiling and happy to be there. But it was tough.
Yeah.
That was competitive.
I read in The Sun that hard-hitting, truth teller, that you made some comments about bullying and that it was a challenging kind of environment. Talk to me about that.
This was recently. I think this was recently when in the press. I think being a dancer, and if you automatically stand with somebody or dance with somebody, everybody assumes that you're sleeping with them.
Okay, yeah.
They call it the Strictly curse.
The British tabloids.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, in some cases, it is true. There was many couples that met doing Strictly as well. But the bullying, it was, dancing. It's an extreme sport.
Yeah.
And there was bullying, and it was, you don't learn the choreography quick enough. You are made fun of. You're not, you're too slow. You fall, and you're
by the other dancers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems strange.
I know this would be very frowned upon these days.
Yeah.
The way how the world works, but back in those days,
yeah,
it wasn't like you can go to HR and be like, he was mean to me.
Yeah.
And he called me a name. And back in those days, you just had to suck it up, toughen up, and do it again.
How did you feel at the time?
I cried like every night when I came home.
Okay.
It was hard. And also, I mean, Phil Tufnell as my first dance partner. I don't know if people know who Phil Tufnell was, but he liked to drink and he liked to have fun. He was just on the jungle at that point.
Okay.
And I had to go through extraordinary measures to get him to practice and train. You have 4 days to put a person in front of a live studio audience and dance in front of 9 million people.
Yeah.
So imagine on Sunday, Monday morning, you go to the professional rehearsal and the musical guest is Lady Gaga. And the director goes, okay, this is the dance. In 2 hours, you have to learn an extraordinary amount of choreography. That's your Monday morning. From there, you go driven to see your celebrity partner, and you have to choreograph a new dance for him. Okay? On Wednesday, you have the team coming in to do a director's tape for the director already to kind of see the dance. It was like a day.
Okay, yeah.
And then Friday, you go to the studio, and you already have to block everything. And Saturday, you do a rehearsal. And then Saturday night, your live show. And then Sunday, you choreograph and you choose music. And then you repeat the cycle. So it's extremely intense. And while you're doing interviews and press and everything in between.
Okay.
So you're in this bubble. You're in this, we called it the Strictly bubble.
Yeah.
Where you just don't know what's going on in the outside world.
Yeah. I saw a few videos as well of you and Phil. I mean, great job. He looked pretty
It was
natural.
I think we had the most. I remember with Claudia Winkleman, we had on It Takes Two. I think we had the most hours in that season. Or Gavin Henson, I can't remember.
He was pretty good too. Maybe I was just like looking at his body or something. I don't know. He was like topless the whole time.
He was topless the whole time. No, he was. It was just a moving and shifting a beautiful tree.
Okay.
But it was you lead and you. But he was so sweet and so kind, and his Welsh accent. He would always say, "Come down, Katya, it's only Tuesday." He was so calm, and I was. It's a lot of pressure. You have a lot of pressure from the people above.
Yeah.
And this is where the job is now. Nothing really scares me, really. I think after you go and you take a celebrity on the dance floor in front of 9 million people, I think nothing can really scare you.
Yeah. I mean, you said that you were crying every night, but it was also one of the most kind of...
First season.
Yeah.
First season I was crying. The second season I toughened up.
Yeah. You said it's one of the most like rewarding experiences.
It was extremely rewarding because what Strictly and Dancing with the Stars did for dancers all over the world is that it made our job and career accessible to so many people. You know, when I danced, I was bullied. Nobody knew ballroom dancing was for old people. You were made fun of.
Yeah.
It was not cool. And when you would say that you were a dancer, I mean, how many times was I in a company and they would say, "Oh, do you dance? Do you dance with your clothes on or off?"
Oh.
It was it was so demeaning. And now Strictly and Dancing with the Stars, it gave so much work opportunity and respect to what we do. And it opened up a million doors for me.
Yeah. You found love in a hopeless place. You met your husband at the bar in BBC, right?
I have such a story about that because the week that I met Klaus, the week before I got engaged.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. I had my boyfriend fly in and he proposed to me in Paris. But it was not meant to be. And then the next Saturday, Klaus came to the show and I studied Klaus's career. Like he's very famous in our world.
Yeah.
But he was at the bar because his friend invited him to come and see Strictly, and he was there to judge at the Royal Albert Hall. And I remember after it was a bump. We bumped into each other, and it was just one of those sparks flew.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, unfortunately, I had to break off the engagement, and there was a whole drama about it. I remember in the Daily Mail, we had these paparazzi shots of like us moving apartments and of us carrying bags from one place to another. It was,
no. So then how long did you intend to stay on the show? Like, was it kind of a long-term thing?
So you don't know if you get signed. It's a yearly contract. It's a 4-month contract, actually.
Okay.
But at that time, I had met my incredible agent, Olivia Bell Management, and Xenia. So she signed me on her agency. And when I met Klaus, that was kind of the thing, because I said, I don't know if I'm staying or I'm going.
Yeah.
Vancouver was my home. And then in January or February, I found out that I'm going to be signed again. So,
yeah. And then let's like kind of segue into Ballroom Bees, like, and you being here right now in Hong Kong. Yeah. Like, how did that come about? Did they like want to get you again on the show, or
no? So I did 3 years on the show, and then I toured across country, Scotland and Ireland, with my own show with Pasha, who was one of the dancers. So it was Evening with the Stars of Strictly. So I produced and choreographed our own massive tour. We did 70 dates in 4 months. And then, but when I got married, I didn't get re-signed. because of various reasons. I was old. I was married now. I'm not sure. I was 28. And after the touring, I wanted to have babies. And Klaus was working a lot in Asia and in China. And when I was pregnant, he said, "Do you want to move to Hong Kong?" And I said, "Abso-fucking-lutely."
Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Hong Kong. It reminds me of Vancouver, but like way more vibrant. It has the ocean, the mountains, the skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And I love that energy here.
Yeah.
And the speed.
Yeah.
But we moved to Hong Kong. I moved to Hong Kong in 2017 with a 9-month-old baby. Klaus starts traveling right away, and I'm kind of by myself navigating. I'm 30-something. I have no friends. I have this baby, and I start taking him to different classes to find friends and to find some sort of community. And I start looking at these classes, and I start realizing, wow, there's a lot of these activities outside the house. And it was this very interesting time when I was finding out about the world of parenting and children. And then I was trying to find dance classes for my son, and I took him to a ballet class, a very, very famous ballet class in Hong Kong, which shall remain nameless. But
I think you can guess.
very expensive as well. And at the end, during the class, there was this box of costumes that they kind of, and I said, "Oh, do you have anything for my son, like a top hat?" And she was like, "Sorry." It was all like, fairy princesses. And one of the moms turned to me and said, "I think you might be in the wrong place."
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God. And I was the only mom with a boy. And I remember running out. I was so upset and angry. And I went to meet my friend, who's going to be my best friend, who's now the CEO of the company. And she said, I said, "I can't believe there's nothing in Hong Kong that is not ballet and that is more inclusive to boys." And my friend said, "If it doesn't exist, build it."
And you did.
And we did. It was 2017, 2018. And then that's when the idea started kind of. But of course, I didn't go to business school. I had no clue about what it takes to start a business, run a business, keep a business. And my friend helped me a lot. And then when COVID got locked down, my husband, bless his heart, was like, "Fine, let's go for it." We didn't have work jobs anyways at this point. And Ballroom Bees was born.
And what was the goal?
The goal was to create something that is more than a teacher. I think in the ballroom world, we grew up with, I think even now with classes, it's about a coach or about a teacher. I wanted to create a system. I wanted to create a curriculum, a methodology, and a system that is trusted by educational schools, kindergartens, places, that it was about Ballroom Bees, not about Katya Virshilas or about Jenny McGraw. It wasn't about the teacher, that it was about a system. And I wanted to be able to also not work, but have something happening and working for me. Seeing my husband, if he doesn't work, he doesn't work. People want him. So I wanted to see how we can scale something.
Yeah.
To build something that is scalable.
And you started during the pandemic. So was that mostly kind of like online classes?
It was crazy because I never thought dance classes online will work. But it did. Listen, when you start a business, the first thing you need is a database of customers.
Yeah.
And I had this crazy idea. I think people were charging at that point to do anything online. And I remember doing this ad and said, "We're going to do a free Zoom class." And we had a link to like a page where they fill out the information. And because the class was free, we got our first 50 customers. And so from that Zoom class with 50 customers, we were able to decipher where was that customer base, and we would open a location around that area. And then it was 80, and then 100, and then 150. And then by the end, it was 300 kids with us. So we built a lot of it during COVID.
Yeah.
And every time there was a lockdown, it was kind of a reset. And we would write, we would study, we would create, I would choreograph. So we were building while everybody was, waiting.
Yeah. So I went to one of the classes recently, and I observed Mr. Ryan teaching a class of like 10 or 12 kids that were somewhere like 2 years old. And it really made me, when he was telling me that the kids were 2 years old, in my head, I had this like mini versions of Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, like, really like kind of freakishly, like talented. And don't get me wrong, they were. But like it really made me realize that it hit home that like development at such an early age is such a special and powerful thing. And especially, I'm such an advocate of like movement being one of these kind of tools that will help you so later on in life. And so it was a beautiful thing to see, like at some of the points during the class, they were not paying attention. They were like looking at their auntie. They were like, like having their own fun with the, like props and stuff. But it was really special. You have kids from 2 years old. Is that the youngest or
18
so?
months.
18 months.
18 months to 12 years old. So we have the mini bees, which is under 3. They do it in the Guardian. 3 to 4, 4 to 6, and 6 to 8, 8 to 12, and then the Be a Champion program. The thing is, when we're born, we naturally move.
Yeah.
But what people forget when it comes to dance, dancers are athletes. We are, from cardiovascular training to athleticism to partnering. And the aspects of what we teach in classes is we're not teaching them how to cha-cha and waltz.
Yes.
We will eventually, but we are teaching them the difference between their heel and toe placement, their left and right.
Yeah.
Actions like jumping, bending, skipping. So these types of action that will help them in sports and in anything in life. It's kind of like learning on a playground. But then, we walk like a crab, but that's a chasse. We rock like a seahorse, but that's a weight transfer. You put that together, you've got your cha-cha basic. But they dance once a week for 45 minutes, so we ignite their passion. I never wanted to have this crazy competitive studio where we want to create a movement with Ballroom Beats. We want, and more than anything to me now with my sons, the change that I see of these programs being in schools, it's a game changer. This is a soft skill that no AI robot will be able to copy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this human connection and touch where I see my son asking a girl, would you like to dance? And connecting, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And right now, everything in school until after they're 7, boys are with boys, girls are with girls. Boys should play football, girls do ballet, and there's no interaction between the opposite sex. And so how do they learn to communicate? But if they have these programs, or when they have Ballroom Bees and our programs in schools, it becomes so normal to them. Boys are not being called names for wanting to dance. It's, the gone are the days where dance is considered. Now, if you walk in Hong Kong and you stop a boy in the street and you say, do you dance ballet? He'll be like, oh no, that's something that my sister does. It's weak and it's pink. Ballroom Bees is redefining that gender of, we have 50% male instructors.
Yeah.
And that is huge for boys to see other boys who are strong and athletic and dance. And we have 30% registered boy students. It's unheard of. There are no male instructors in ballet classes, and I will bet my left pinky. Like there'll be like the odd boy. There's always the one odd boy with 100 girls.
Yeah. That surprises me, actually.
Yes, I think Hong Kong Ballet should really do more. I saw their recent commercial with their new studio, and it was like a flutter of pink with one boy running through the door. And with the amount of funding that you get, you should do more for boys.
Yeah, it does really surprise me.
Yeah.
Because where else do these boys get their training?
But that's the thing for the fact that, my son who loves to dance and him being called names for dancing is because of the lack of knowledge. Our educational programs come in and we talk about how do different cultures express themselves through dance and music. We talk about Paso Doble and the Matador in Spain. Brazil, like some of the coolest, most incredible football players are from South America. Why? Because they dance. Vinny Jr., when he scores, he does a little like samba move.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
These are the soft skills that our kids should be learning.
Yeah. I wish I had you advocating for this as a youngster, because I mean, I feel comfortable in a nightclub on the dance floor, but to do choreographed steps is quite foreign and quite uncomfortable for me. Segue into our little session. So before I went to observe Ryan's class, we did a little kind of mini ballroom bees on Abby. So I learned actually take the viewers through what we went through.
So we did a little salsa class.
Yeah.
And what you learned is the salsa forward, a mambo basic.
But before that we did
Oh yes.
the hello dance, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. So you got to experience.
I'm laughing because I was so uncomfortable, but I had so much fun in like 5 minutes.
You looked I was a little bit nervous because you were like, what am I doing right now?
Yes, I was thinking about
I wanted you to experience what Ballroom B students, because they, parents go like, oh, I can do this at home and this is silly. But actually, if you engage, probably, I always say to my teachers, I audition my teachers with hello, hello.
Yeah.
Because you have to do hello, hello. Like you are on like Carnegie Hall Stadium. It's posture, it's extension. And I could see your brain thinking like, what comes next? Where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah.
But you did fantastic.
Thank you.
And the exercise song, we were sweating.
Yeah. It was also like the most hot and humid day in Hong Kong.
But it was jumping, squatting.
Yeah.
We wanted you to experience some of the Ballroom Bees dances because, this is not like, oh, this is like a silly little... I have been to every dance class in Hong Kong. What Ballroom Bees do, we do properly. You get your money's worth.
Yeah.
You work.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that, you can learn a lot about yourself and others in a movement session. What in our session did you learn about yourself?
I really love teaching and introducing people to dance who have never done it before and changing their minds. I think that's what I do. If I were to introduce every day, I change people's opinion about who dance is for.
Yeah.
And if I get to do that with you, where you have a different thought about it, like, then that's what I kept thinking about.
Yeah. I learned that you're super supportive. I think there was probably an unspoken kind of exchange between us that I was uncomfortable.
Yes.
And you made me feel safe. Like it was, like I mentioned, it was the hottest day in the world. There's no air.
Wearing all black.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm really sweaty. And you were like, that's fine. And we kind of just ran for it. And I immediately knew that I was in good hands. And even I felt like that also was amplified in the way that you moved. So thank you for that.
Listen, I would love to continue our salsa sessions.
Yeah.
I think it should be fun.
I was thinking about dragging my boyfriend along to this.
You should.
You're welcome, honey.
Love to teach you guys. I think so many people have this experience with dance class. Maybe you get this sometimes with fitness classes. People feel I get that with the gym. I get really self-conscious.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Or am I you get self-conscious. And I think dance has that as well. But I would we would love to teach you and your boyfriend. Thought that would be amazing. And go salsa dancing.
Yeah.
Salsa is one of the best cardio. People ask me how I prep for Strictly. I used to go to salsa nightclubs and dance all night.
Love.
Just dancing, like
Yeah.
sweating. And what's great with salsa, I always think dance is a language. And if you were to go somewhere and you're like, oh, you salsa, okay, great. And you have a conversation, you move and you say, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Or chat, like it's a language.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you learn about me?
I learned that number one, you have amazing fitness levels, that you were able to challenge yourself, and that you were able to move, that you were able to pick up the steps quickly. I didn't think that you were going to fall over at any time. I felt that you had a really strong core, and but you moved like a fitness guy. It was I wanted to like take my hands on your hips and but you trusted me.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to continue another hour to do like a pop lesson.
Yeah. We'll schedule that later. What have you learned about yourself through movement over the years?
Movement makes me feel better. And teaching wasn't enough. It's just in the past year and a half, I started taking care of myself more because I missed dancing and moving. And when you take a great class, you feel that like, and I have a very high intense job and I'm constantly putting on fires, and I felt I was missing that. I was tired mentally, but it wasn't like my body wasn't tired, but that good tired. Yeah. And when I move, my body feels tired. And what I've learned is I need to make time for me to train. And now with learning about weight training, and I love spin classes and I love Pilates. I love all different types of classes.
Yeah.
I would love to do more training and movement in classes.
What are you saying to little Katya through all the stuff that you've been through, all the Playboy Mansion parties and dates with Michael Keaton? What are you saying to little Katya?
If little Katya would see the big Katya now, who's running an extraordinarily successful company, where people told her that there's no way that you'll be smart enough to do things like this.
Yeah.
I just told her to hang on. Because she was very sweet and kind, and sometimes people took advantage of her.
Yeah.
So she did toughen up eventually.
Yeah. Love it. I'm going to ask you 10 very quick lightning round questions.
Okay.
All right. Just don't think too much about it.
Okay. Okay.
So each question is a go-to. All right. So your go-to sweat, your go-to workout.
Running.
Okay.
And dancing.
Yeah. How did you pick up running? It's just the thing now?
No. I had to find something to do between 5 and 6 because it was the only time I could squeeze in a workout.
Yeah.
I don't like working out in the evenings, and I had to be there for my kid. Not had to be there. I want to be there for my kids for dinner and bedtime.
Yeah.
And I want to be in the office before everybody comes. So, and old gyms were closed. And so it was this, and honestly, I cannot tell you how much I hated running.
Okay.
I would make fun of runners so much because actually the Nike Run Club app was what changed. It was Coach Bennett. And I remember just starting these little runs, and I was so out of shape. But yeah, it was that 5 to 6 moment, and my day just is so good.
Love it.
Afterwards.
What's your go-to self-care ritual?
Oh my gosh. Facial, nighttime skincare, and watching the Kardashians with a face mask.
I was nodding my head furiously on the skincare part until you said Kardashian. Sorry. Go-to treat meal.
Poutine. I love poutine.
Oh, okay. That's
It's
gravy and
fries, gravy, and cheese curds.
yeah, great, great. Go to travel destination.
Uh, Anywhere with a beach, Phuket, Bali.
Love it. Go to morning routine.
Hot water, ginger. My ginger lemon water. Sorry, my dyslexia. Run, get ready, and then wake up the kids, go to the office.
Love it. I like that you have like a little window of morning me time.
Yes.
Yeah, super important.
Yeah.
Go to recovery practice.
After my training,
Yeah.
I love to do saunas.
Okay.
Saunas, stretching.
Go to workout music.
Oh my God, I'm so picky. But like really awesome club music. But sometimes I like early 2000s, like hip hop.
Okay.
It could be like Dr. Dre or Eminem or like really great dance classics.
Like
You know,
The Prodigy.
like no, that's a bit too intense. But it was oh my God, I'll send you my playlist.
Okay.
I've got some wicked playlists.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go to book.
Oh, I love books. I just finished reading The Tell. I'm reading now Hunt, Gather Parent. And I'm about to start reading, oh my God, The Grit. I just read The Grit. I'm always reading. I always have either a book starting or in an Audible. I love reading.
Oh, I love Audible.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Go to dance move.
Salsa. It's the 1, 2, 3, 5 forward and back.
Yeah.
Little, yes.
Love it.
Although I do tend to do this. I feel like I need to stop doing that. It tells your age.
I'm like mom dancing. And then the final one, go to mantra or life motto.
It's not a no. It's a not yet.
Oh, interesting. I love that.
Yes.
Why does that speak to you?
Because it has always been my mantra. I always feel bad for people that say no to me.
I need to learn how to say no.
That's different. That we all need to say no. But that I do have a rule with that. I have this kind of 3 boxes that it has to fit. And if it doesn't fit those 3 boxes, then I say a no thank you. Like we teach in Ballroom, no thank you.
Okay.
But the not yet comes from opportunities. I'm, the opportunities. I'm a woman in business trying to get into education in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of no's that's coming in. And that no is a not yet. I always say, go through email and check that person who told you no and reply to that email.
Yeah. What have your biggest challenges been being a female entrepreneur?
We're all self-supported, so we don't have funding. And we are trying to break down, to bring something different to the educational system. And we are competing with ballet and sports. So, and for me, it's not competing. I think it's all should be as part of, it's a holistic approach to the arts for schools. But honestly, besides, we have been very lucky and supported. We've had many people that have supported the company, and we don't have budget for marketing. So everything is word of mouth. And the moms are a powerful, powerful ally. Every single mom who's experienced our program has come forward and opened the door for us in a new location and in a school. And let me tell you something. I mean, if a mom wants something, she will open those doors. She will get it. And it's been incredible. Like the power of moms is amazing.
What's next for you?
We have a very exciting prospect right now. I can't talk about it, but we are finalizing all of our franchise modules. And we are going to be expanding Ballroom across Asia.
Love it.
and the world. Yeah. And obviously working on our animated series, Netflix. I'm waiting for your call. And to get funding to keep the animation series going,
Okay.
to put it into education systems and YouTube and homes around the world.
I love it. I love your passion, and I love that dancing just exudes from your pores. Your passion is infectious. And I wish you all the best with, can't wait to see the Netflix series. Can't wait to see you up on stage with that Best Actress Oscar.
Yeah, it will be for Best Animation Series
Okay,
or
right.
Best Animation Film.
Okay.
Abby and Bobby. Yes, Ballroom Bees goes to school.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Yes. But you and I, we've got salsa lesson dates.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So we'll coordinate that.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's where social media is great. When connections like that do happen via social media, and I wanted to reach out because I admire the world of who we have here, the classes, this community, and I've just wanted to have this conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative and glad and grateful that you reached out.
Thank you
So
for
it's
having
been a
us. This is
special
beautiful.
conversation. Where can people find you?
So my Instagram is at Katya Virshilas or at Ballroom Bees. And of course, find out more about Ballroom Bees is www.ballroombees.com.
Great. Well, we'll have you back on the podcast when the Netflix series is up and running, and you and all your ventures.
Yes.
When you can talk about your special project that's upcoming.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have you back. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Move, Sweat, Discover. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and write us a 5-star review. See you next time.